Hey, we're going to try this one more time. We're back at the Brohio podcast. We're in the new Brohio studios, but you can't tell because our camera's not working. Our audio interface isn't working.
Looks like I did see that there is a extension for Google Chrome that just lets you change it right through the extension. The device output for the audio. It was picking up our room audio, which is kind of loud, instead of actually picking up our microphone audio. So, sorry, guys.
Let me ask you this.
Sure, go ahead.
You ever been jacking off so fucking hard?
Yes.
That your dad wakes up and then his wiener falls out of your hand?
No. Unfortunately not.
I don't feel like you're being honest with me right now. Now, we've said this once before, about 20 minutes ago.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a weird few weeks.
Yeah.
Trying to remake this studio, this space for us.
Oops.
Trying to make it real nice. Trying to make a better situation for us and everything that we're trying to achieve.
Mm-hmm.
You feel me?
I feel you.
And I think that it's really discouraging that nothing's fucking working right now.
Yeah, we're just ironing out the wrinkles.
It's gonna keep
on happening. Let me turn my phone down here.
It's gonna keep on happening. This episode of the Brohio podcast is brought to you by our sponsors at Sticker Theories. You can go to stickertheories.com, use the promo code ALLBROHIO, all caps. I'm sorry. Use the promo code BROHIO, all caps.
There you go.
We haven't cited Sticker Theories. The deal I made with them, they said they'll send us free stickers. I say, you send us free stickers, you'll forever be the sponsor of this show. Because stickers are so fucking expensive, dude.
Yeah, they are.
God. So go check out Sticker Theories if you need custom die cut stickers, any kind of stickers you need.
Cool.
You get stickers for your mom, your dad, your cat, your dog, it doesn't matter.
Put a sticker on your sticker.
And even if you're jacking your dad off like I was, or Rob, I was asking, I didn't say that I jacked my dad off.
Yeah.
I just said that, I asked you if that ever happened.
If it's happened, right.
Which is completely different.
Sure.
It's a lot different. What a fun episode. We had a few people send us this topic.
Mm-hmm.
After going through it, I think this guy can be completely full of shit. I'm going to let you guys decide because, let's see if it still works.
Surprise, motherfucker.
Yeah, it still works.
Cool.
Okay. You never know. We got to change that.
Yeah.
Okay, first up on our Patreon list is Cody Bailey. Thank you, Cody, for the Patreon pledge.
Is that the whole name?
I think it's just Young Fly Black. Yeah, I don't know.
Is it Bastard?
Yeah, it is.
Young Fly Bastard. Thank you very much. I can't tell, is that a person with their titties out in that picture?
Hopefully.
I hope so.
Josh Tanner. Thank you, Josh, for your Patreon pledge.
Alfonso Delgado. Thank you very much.
He sounds like a really good baseball player.
Really fancy.
Angelic Stain. Stain. Stain? I love the band. I love the
maybe?
band Stain.
Oh.
I love the band Stain, though, so hopefully it's Stain.
Hell yeah. Nick Perkins. Thank you very much, Perkins.
Got a good-looking sack on him. He sent us a picture of it. Donna Russell. Thank you, Donna, for your Patreon pledge.
And last but not least, Don DeCenza. Thank you very much.
You can join us on Patreon. Go to patreon.com/Brohio podcast. Let's see. I had an article, but then I turned the computer off because Rob wanted me to. And I lost everything. Okay.
Oh, sweet.
This is one sport that I've never fucking got before, dude.
Nah, I'm okay with this.
Rooster with knife tied to leg kills owner during illegal cockfight in India.
Yeah, they got what they deserved then.
A man was killed by a rooster with a blade tied to its leg during illegal cockfight in southern India, police said, bringing focus on a practice that continues in some Indian states despite a decades-old ban. The rooster, with a 3-inch knife, which is completely legal to carry on your person.
They fucking tied a fucking shank to a rooster.
Tied it to its leg, fluttered in panic, and slashed its owner, 45-year-old Thangula Satish.
Good.
In his groin.
Ooh.
Last week. Police Inspector B. Javine said Sunday.
Good.
The incident occurred in Lothanur village of Telangana state. I feel like I nailed it.
We're so fucking white.
According to Jivan, Satish was injured while he prepared the rooster for a fight. Satish was hit by the rooster's knife in his groin and started bleeding heavily. Oh, my God. The man died on the way to the hospital. Jivan said police filed a case and were looking for over a dozen people involved in organizing the cockfight. And if proven guilty, the organizers can be jailed for up to 2 years. Cockfights are common in the southern India states of Telangana. Well, yada. The guy took a fucking... Okay, last year a man was killed when a blade attached to his bird's leg hit him in the neck during a cockfight.
Oh, shit.
In 2010, a rooster killed its owner by slashing his jugular vein in West Bengal. They got really big tigers there for sure. So, one thing to keep in mind, gotta be fucking careful with them roosters. Whatever you tie to their legs, there's a good chance that it's going to go into your groin. It's possibly going to kill you. There's a lot of different alternatives to deal with.
And that, among many other reasons, are why you do not fight animals.
Like, make them fight each other, you just don't fight them.
I mean, or don't square up with a rooster either, because them things are mean as fuck. You can punch it. You can punch its gobbler, and it'll still keep coming at you.
I watched one TikTok video of a dog getting attacked or attacking someone or some shit like that, and ever since then, I just get nasty animal TikTok videos of like dog and cats getting killed and stuff.
I saw this one. It was they were at a groomer, and this husky came up to this poodle and grabbed it by the neck and shook it really hard and broke its fucking neck.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was really sad.
It was on TikTok?
Yeah, it was just laying there on the floor with its fucking legs just kicking.
Oh,
and I'm like,
so sad.
Man. Like, can you imagine taking your dog in for a cleaning and it getting killed?
I would fucking kill someone there. Is what would happen. I would go back and I would kill.
Yeah.
One thing we are really struggling with is the room, life, the room noise. But now I think that we put the blanket in front of the door, it kind of killed it all.
Yeah, there is still some, but I mean, we're literally sitting almost square in the middle of a empty room. So once we fill it up, I think it'll soften.
Our last studio had a lot of piles of dirty laundry and stuff, and that really helped out. There was the cat box.
Hey, maybe that cat box was doing us a lot of good. We should try and bring that in.
We should just put kitty litter on the floor.
Dude, that might work.
My wife would love that. She'd be like, "Where's all the kitty litter?" I'd say, "I don't know."
It could also be because of the floors too. I guess we had concrete floors in the other one, so
yeah, but they were covered in clothes and
that's
socks.
And that's true.
There was looked like a fucking trailer park blew up.
We'll just start hanging your underwear from the ceiling.
We'll be all right. So
we'll make it.
There was something. Like I said, it's been a weird few weeks. We kind of chicken wing some episodes.
Chicken wing.
The Lori Beth Denberg episode didn't do nearly as well as we thought it would do.
Wild.
I like talking to her.
Yeah, I don't care. I'll talk to her tons of times.
I kind of thought that people would not really know. Not everyone would know who she was.
Yeah.
Which is fine. But we have...
No, there's no excuse.
There's absolutely no excuse. We've returned to our roots here. We've found a story titled The Mark Barton Bigfoot Mental Rape. So,
who doesn't love a good Bigfoot rape?
I need you to bear with me for a second.
I'm bearing, man.
There is, when you think about hunting for Sasquatches,
okay,
you think about going into the woods, looking for a Sasquatch,
right?
Looking for a big furry animals.
Yes.
And we've often talked about Bigfoots possibly being descendants of aliens or being aliens all in themselves.
Mm-hmm.
In this specific story of Mark Barton, he is an avid Sasquatcher, or as they like to call it, they go squatching.
Okay.
I thought squatching's what your dog does when he's got fucking worms and he drags his butt across the carpet. That's squatching, I thought.
I thought it was like when you go to a public restaurant, you don't want to put your ass on the seat, so you have to squatch above the toilet.
Squatch it above the toilet seat. That's probably a more, yeah, I can see that. But this Mark Barton guy, he goes on this YouTube channel, and I'm going to claim fair act. I thought about reaching out.
Fair use, man, yeah.
I thought about reaching out to this Bigfoot Odyssey on YouTube.
Is our episode just going to be all of their whole episode?
Not all of it, but I got some snippets in there for sure.
Yeah,
so,
fair use, man. We can do that.
So, and we're speculating. We're not making money off the interview or whatever. We're just kind of parody commenting on the episode itself.
Yeah, you'll have to explain
the interview. what I think is what's so profound about this is how strange of an experience this guy says that he's had with a fucking Bigfoot.
Okay.
Now he is on the trail. He has his own YouTube channel, this Mark Barton guy, called The Trail of the Bigfoot, and him and his buddy Chris Connor, I don't even know if the channel is still active, but they do a lot of squatching. They do a lot of squatching. They go looking for Bigfoots, and they have some pretty intense videos. Whether they're real or not, I don't know.
Is multiple Bigfoots or is it big feet?
It's big feeders, big footers.
We're looking for big feet.
I don't know what the fuck it is. And he is completely convinced that he had some type of experience with an entity associated with Bigfoot.
Okay.
Not necessarily. He's had encounters with Bigfoots. In this story, he has an encounter with some type of dark entity or dark power that's goes along with squatching and hunting Bigfoots.
Okay, cool.
And it's really hard to wrap your brain around all of it without me telling you the story. So I think what we should do next is lay this out. The interview takes place on the Bigfoot Odyssey YouTube channel. The host, there was two hosts. Excuse me. There was Carrie, and then there was some lady named Diana, Dirty Diana. I don't know her fucking name. Daniela, I think is what it was.
Okay.
And she literally sat there the entire fucking time and didn't talk.
Yeah, kind of like me.
On this. No. Yeah, I promise you contribute 7,000% more than this fucking bitch did.
Sweet. That's a good percentage. I like that.
I think she might have been just a moderator for his live stream.
Was she just the person signing?
She didn't even speak. She
was in the bottom corner.
She was British. She was British. The guy doing the interview was deep Texas, Florida, oil rig guy. And that Carrie guy that hosts the Bigfoot Odyssey channel, he had something happen to him with kids in the woods. Him going off a trail and following some kids into the woods that were calling for help, and something happened. I don't know his full story. I'd like to find more about it, but if you guys just look up Mark Barton Bigfoot Odyssey, you'll be able to find the entire YouTube interview. It's about 2 hours long.
Okay.
I watched the beginning of this video probably 50 times, and each time I'm like, man, this is a cool story. But then this time I watched it all the way through, and by the end of it, I was thinking, this guy is so full of fucking shit. He's like every other person we have on the show. And buried in the YouTube video is the direct link to talk to Mark Barton, the interview,
Sweet.
To get the for interview requests and stuff. And I can imagine he's probably not got a lot going on, but I completely rejected that. I said, no, I do not want to talk to this guy. I don't want to.
Not even entertaining it.
We're going to tear this fucking dude to shreds.
Sweet. I can't wait. I'm excited.
Yeah. So Mark Barton, he gives the interview. Or I'm sorry. Carrie from Bigfoot Odyssey, he conducts the interview. Mark Barton is the one that had the encounter with the Bigfoot.
Okay.
Mark Barton's best friend is Chris Connor. They both star on the YouTube channel Trail of the Bigfoot, where they both go squatching. I do believe they are actively fucking each other, and I will lay that theory out during this.
Maybe it wasn't the squatch. Maybe it was
some people say the same thing about you and I. They're like, "Oh, they're very funny, but they're definitely fucking each other."
I sure do talk about fucking each other a lot.
Oh.
We just throw the jokes out in case one day one of us are just finally giving in.
This is not weird yet, is it? So they worked up to this. They worked up to this interview. Carrie talked to Mark Barton over the phone a few days before the actual interview.
Okay.
And Mark laid out his story, and Carrie said, "Oh my God, I got to get you on my fucking show. You had a truly, wild experience, and I want everybody to hear it." And like I said, Carrie is from Bigfoot Odyssey. He one of the things he noticed when he was talking to Mark was how emotional Mark was, and how emotional he was getting while talking through the experience.
Okay.
Now I don't think, the Mark Barton guy, there's little nuggets laid out. His wife had passed away prior to this. I think he's around like mid-60s. I I don't know when his wife passed away, but I think that he was using this Bigfoot squatching thing as more of like a social experience to hang out with people or to get people to hang out with him.
Okay.
Just fellow Bigfoot hunters.
Gotcha.
Yeah. But he was literally this Mark Barton guy. He was shaking like a fucking poodle shitting razor blades for this entire interview. He was just on edge, tore up. So he looked like he was emotionally upset about something. I couldn't tell. But then at times he started like fake crying. You could tell that he was fake crying, like he was making it all up.
Like it was like a on cue type deal?
Like he was reminding himself to cry.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. But whatever happened to this dude, or whatever he thinks happened to himself, definitely fucked him up, or he's attempting to be a really good actor. He cites very many times that he is a very religious man. He's deeply Christian. He thinks that the Father in heaven has a plan and a purpose for him.
Okay.
But then throughout the entire episode, he's like, fuck this and fuck that. Eat shit. God damn it, motherfucker.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it doesn't necessarily mean anything. That just kind of sets the tone for this guy. I'm trying to set him up, but he starts to cry when he's talking about his Bigfooting partner, Chris Connor. And like I said before, I think they were definitely fucking each other. You get my drift?
Yeah, there's no real drift besides that.
I'm going to take you to the first, oh my God. I swear to God, every time I click on fucking
survey.
Every time I click on YouTube, it's like, wants to play, okay.
There we go.
Oh, okay. I got to get to the 7:45 mark. 7:45.
Damn, this is a 2-hour-long interview.
Yeah, I know. It's great. Blip, 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 blip. And I think he's definitely gay. I think him and the, not that that's a problem or that's anything wrong with that, but I think him and the Chris guy are definitely fucking the shit out of each other. So
okay.
Here he is talking about how good of a friend Chris is.
Okay.
Thanks, Mark.
And then a shout out to Chris. You know, do I need to say his last name, Chris Connor?
Sure. They know.
Chris,
Crying.
you're my best buddy. And if
This is how I talk about chicken wings.
When I came back, I wouldn't have been alive. I would have done something bad. And I know it's been tough for you. You know, it's, tough for me, but it's been tough for you. You're my best friend. I told Carrie you were my bestest buddy and talk like a little kid. But you are. And I know you're listening. I couldn't ask for a better friend. You know? And I'm here on this channel because of Chris. You know? Chris.
Doesn't that sound like they're definitely having sex with each other?
Yeah, it definitely does.
Okay. And he says that, I guess to kind of set this up a little bit, this guy, Mark Barton, goes into the woods by himself for a week, has a really traumatic experience, comes out of the woods by himself, and the first person he shares the experience with is his buddy Chris.
Okay. I do want to say they do look like the type of people that would go squatching.
No, those are actual Bigfoots back there, Rob.
Oh, okay.
No, and she's completely British and doesn't say a goddamn word the entire episode. You want to talk about
it's those aromatherapy candles.
Dragging him down. Fuck it. Get her out of there.
She's just she's like, fucking Bigfoot people.
They even have Bigfoots in Great Britain.
I don't think so.
I don't think they do. So this happened in February of 2020, I believe.
Oh, shit. This is fresh.
This is fresh.
A year ago.
And what these guys do, Mark Barton and his friend Chris Connor, they are Bigfoot hunters on their YouTube channel. In one specific incident, they were able to get a pretty substantial cast molding of a Bigfoot footprint in terms of what he calls the holy pillar. A Bigfoot footprint is right there, is one of those holy pillars of people squatching, looking for Bigfoots. I've never looked for a Bigfoot. I had an experience in the woods one time.
Getting one of those is like getting one of those porn star molded dicks. Do you know what I mean? I mean, shit. It's like as good as you can get.
Yeah. And I think that for sure. But they were so amped up over this cast molding of this Bigfoot's foot that they had a town hall meeting where they announced, hey, we got a cast molding of either a really big baby or it's a Bigfoot. Or it's a baby with really big feet. We don't know.
Just a guy wearing clown shoes.
It's a small baby with big feet, or it's a big woman with big feet. We don't know. We think it's a Bigfoot. So they have this town hall meeting completely surrounding the cast molding of the Bigfoot's foot.
Okay.
Because why the fuck not?
Hey, why not? I mean, it's in the name.
Why the fuck not?
You can't have a Bigfoot with really small feet. What if they did? If they were like tiny, like toddler feet.
To unveil the Bigfoot footprint we found in the Florida swamp last week. And right here behind this curtain is a size 3T.
So you finally catch one, and he's just like, oh, hi, guys. I've just been hiding all these years.
He just finally caught up to me after I got a pedicure. Normally my feet aren't so fucking ashy.
Oh, man.
Yeah. There was a lot going on with that town hall, and he said that, Mark Barton said that he was getting pulled a million different directions. People wanting to talk to him, people wanting to interview him, people just wanting to do all kinds of fucking bad stuff with him. I don't know if they wanted to.
Man, we need to have some sort of existential crisis to get on the news to push this podcast.
Yeah, I think.
Can we get abducted or see a goat man or something?
We need to find some really profound information, like JFK's assassin or something.
That'd be
that.
sweet.
If we unfolded something close enough to get us killed, but
that'd be fun.
Not really get us killed.
Yeah. I always wanted to be in a situation where I'm like constantly checking my rearview mirrors when I'm driving to see if someone's following me. That's exciting.
Yeah, like Bob.
But don't. If you guys are listening, don't do that. Please don't.
No, it's fine. Don't do it to us.
Unless you're gonna make out with me if you catch up with me.
Unless you're gonna fuck me. Guys only, please. Now there was a lot going on. He said that he was getting pulled a million different directions.
Sure.
And he just needed some time to clear his mind. He said one of his things he likes to do is he likes to go just get a cabin in the woods and kind of be out in the wilderness all by himself.
Cabin in the Woods, great movie.
And that's what he did. He got a cabin in a national park. He wouldn't specify what national park it was. I am under the belief that it was either Louisiana or it was Florida.
Oh, so south.
There's a swamp. There was pigs, so I do believe that he was in one of those places.
You'd never be able to fucking understand that Bigfoot. Fucking Bayou Bigfoot.
Yeah. Yeah, I tell you boys over here cooking something. Now come on here, see what you all was making. They have one in they have a Bigfoot in Louisiana. I think it's called the Rookin. Or maybe not. There's a Honey Island swamp monster in Louisiana.
Sounds awesome.
Why do I fucking know this shit?
Just a big monster that's super sticky.
Yeah.
It's covered in honey.
Somebody give me a wet nap.
Just like a fucking mutated honeybee.
Now, my favorite part, his intentions was to go to the national park all by himself. Just him all alone, but he was
camping.
He was very happy that the place he was going to was secluded, but he could still get cell phone service.
Wow, good for him.
He could Clash Royale it up and shit.
Yeah, every time I fucking go camping, I can't get shit for cell service.
Yeah, he was I guess he was in a spot where he could still get cell service.
Wow.
You can have one of them Ermals if you want to. I don't like them.
Let's see.
He got but for this trip, he had a friend drive him to the location. He didn't drive to the location himself. He had the person drive him to the location, just drop his ass off. I used to work with a police detective that once a year he would take like 2 weeks off. They would fly him. They wouldn't tell him where they were taking him. Helicopter. They'd helicopter him somewhere.
They like blindfold him and shit.
Yeah.
That's
they
fucking
wouldn't,
sweet.
and they would drop them down wherever in the fucking wherever, and they would have to find their way out of wherever they were at.
Oh man, that's so. I would be so dead, but that's so cool.
Yeah, and they would do that, and he didn't strike me as a guy that would do something like that. He was kind of he was an older guy. He was right at the brink of retirement, but he used to do it, and he never died. He retired, and he works for the courts now as a bailiff, so he's still just fucking making.
What is the point of that?
Making dough.
Not being a bailiff, but just dropping someone off in the middle of nowhere.
Money, dude. But,
I guess.
so he gets this cabin in a national park for the friend. The friend drops him off, which this seems a little bit gay to me as well. It doesn't. He didn't specify if this Chris Connor guy was the guy that dropped him off.
Okay,
but it sounds like they went to go camping together, and then they got mad at each other.
Aw.
He didn't even portray that in the story, but I just think for my own calculations.
If we ever went camping, I wouldn't get mad at you.
you get mad at my asshole and beat it up. So I think that they got in a fight. I don't know. I really don't know. I hope that's what happened.
Yeah, it's okay.
But it just sounds a little bit gay that he got dropped off. And just why not drive your goddamn self? So he didn't even have a car with him. He planned to stay Friday to Friday at this campsite. He said that when the guy left, the guy locked the gate. The
gate to leave?
Yeah, and that's one of the parts in the story where I'm kind of confused. It must have been some type of gated property.
Okay.
Some type, maybe it was a closed campground.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe it was just somebody's property. I can't really tell. He said that every night he would cook on an open fire, like a griddle type deal out in the.
Heck
so
yeah,
there was
that's awesome.
There was a cabin, and the cabin sat on a large yard, like a large, patch of grass.
Uh-huh.
And there's a tree line all around the yard. So every night while he was out there, he would hear what he thought were hogs rooting around on the tree line, which is kind of wild hogs are really fucking loud, dude.
And they're mean as fuck.
They're meaner than shit, and they're loud.
That's why they kill them from helicopters.
They do.
Yeah, they do.
There's some bad motherfuckers.
Fuck yeah, man. They destroy everything.
And he really emphasized that this noise that he was hearing was completely unmistakable. It was something that couldn't be mistaken for something else.
Okay.
In the mornings, he would investigate the hog situation. So at night, he would be... You like that?
Fucking love it.
I don't like it.
Ooh, that's really good.
I don't like it. It tastes like sweaty nutsack to me.
Let me untap this.
That's probably why you like it, because it tastes like sweaty genitals.
Makes me feel like... reminds me of my upbringing. Reminds me of my dad.
What is it? Ermel's...
Ermel's raspberry.
Ermel's raspberry. Fucking disgusting.
Mm.
It's from a local brewery called Warped Wing.
Where we had our last live show.
It was. So at night, he would cook on this open fire, and he would hear these hogs rooting around. Hogs just fucking each other, dude. That's a really unmistakable sound.
Just like cats, yeah.
King Dingling hog out there just fucking tearing everything up.
Wild cats.
And in the mornings, he would wake up and he would go over to where the hogs were making all the noise and say, I want to see what the fuck is going on over here, seeing what all they were doing.
Yeah.
And when he would go check on where the hogs were making all the noise, nothing was disturbed. There was no sign of a hog. There was no sign of hogs rooting around. And they really cause a mess. They root around. They tear everything up. They really are just destructive. They're pests. They're fucking...
Yeah.
They're nasty and disgusting.
And all they do is fuck, and then they just keep having more babies, and then it just gets out of control because they just destroy everything.
They knock down trees and they're fucking and stuff.
That's why people shoot them from helicopters.
So you go check in the mornings and see what kind of hog shit they leave behind. And he couldn't find anything. There was nothing left behind. So then he decided to set up a trail cam. Not only to kind of see what was going on with the hogs, but their most viewed video, he said in the interview, that they're a squatching channel. They do Bigfoot videos. Their highest down or watched video is a fucking trail cam of a deer. So he starts talking like, I was trying to get a video. I was trying to get some pictures of Bambi. He doesn't even call him deer. He just calls him Bambi, which is kind of weird. And
it's weird.
Childish to me.
Right.
And while he was setting up the trail cam to catch the deer, he could hear hogs in the background then as well. He could, clear as day, he could hear the hogs off in the distance making a fucking racket. He moved the trail cam at this point to the exit road. And sadly enough, in the interview, he says, this is very important to note. He says, I moved the trail cam to the exit road, and I'm going to tell you why later. But he never elaborates on why he moved the trail cam to the exit road.
Oh, what a cliffhanger.
And what happens when he moves.
What a dick.
Yes, that's exactly what I said. I'm going to stop and save real quick. That's okay. Yeah, that's
okay.
That's perfect. All right, we're back.
Cool.
I went and took some nose spray. Dude, it never fails. When you come to my house and I start talking to you, my nose completely clogs up.
I think it's just because your cats rub their assholes on our microphones.
Sound like a bumbling fucking idiot, dude.
That's okay. It does the same thing to me.
Oh,
we're allergic to each other, but we fight through it.
That's love. Okay. Where was I? So you couldn't really elaborate on the trail cam, which was really discouraging for me.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Where am I now?
I don't know.
I'm burping a little bit. Okay. I think I'm getting ready to pass
You're about
away.
to stroke out.
Yeah, I'm about to have a stroke.
Check your pulse.
Okay. He got to the point where he needed to use the rest of his firewood. All the firewood that he'd taken with him, he needed to put it to good use because there was a rainstorm coming and he knew that he wasn't going to be able to use any of the firewood. So he planned to have a big fire that night. He was going to cook himself a big dinner and then just sit outside and burn this big fire. He did indeed create a huge fire that night, and he's sitting there staring at the fire. And we speak of these holy pillars that he talks about.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the Bigfoot, the foot, and now this one, through the flames of the fire in the tree line, he sees what he describes as red eye shine.
Oh, shit.
That is one of the other holy pillars of squatching. You got the goddamn eye shine. And he kind of described it if you were...
Or could have been a fucking possum.
Could have been the pigs out there fucking.
Right.
Hard fucking. You don't know. And he said if in the Bigfoot hunting community, if you saw something like this, you would call all of your friends to a gathering.
Mm-hmm.
You would have a big fucking party.
Right.
And you would say, God damn it, I just saw the best example of eye shine. And they make a big deal about it. You know, they have a fucking eye shine party. And then towards the end, the guys that stay late, they fuck each other in the eye sockets with, it's a really nasty, drawn out process. But
it's weird. I mean, that's something that's so explainable.
It is, and it isn't, you know.
Especially if there's light that's reflecting off of the eyes. I mean.
He said it was a little bit taller. He said it was only about 5 feet tall, what he saw. That could have been a bear.
Could have been a perv.
Could have been a pig. Could have been a dude out there jacking his weenus. Could have been Rob jacking off so hard that he wakes his dad up and his dad's wiener falls out of his hand. I hit some guy at work with that today just to see if it would work. Because I try my jokes out on people before I try them on you.
Yeah, you got to try them out.
And it worked. And I said, I'm going to try that one on Rob tonight.
I had one, but I forgot it.
Yeah, okay.
Good story.
Good one. Hold on.
There you go.
That was the right one.
We had to go through and figure out what was what.
Oh man. But yeah, they would call these if he said that if he experienced this holy pillar any other time, there would be a big gathering and they would kind of go through it and they would try to debunk it or go back and see if they could find what it was. When he moved left of the fire, the eyes would disappear. And when he would move to the right of the fire, the eyes would disappear. But then when he would move to the middle of the fire and look at the tree line through the fire, he could see the eyes in the tree line. And he got up and went over and investigated with his flashlight. And he, in this part in the interview, I don't know why I didn't put it in here. He says, I got up with my flashlight, and it was a really bright one. Like, oh, that's a fucking flashlight, dude.
Like, okay, cool.
That's a job. It's a fucking flashlight.
300,000 lumens.
He said, it's a bright one. So he goes up over the tree line to investigate with his flashlight to no avail. He goes and sits back down, looks through the fire into the tree line. The eyes come back.
Okay.
He gets up, goes back over to the tree line, can't find anything, sits back down, looks through the fire, sees the eyes again, gets back up, kind of halfway goes back towards the woods, says, you know what, I'm not going back over there. Goes back over to the fire, and he's standing in front of his chair. Whatever he was sitting on, he's standing in front of it. And at this point in the interview, when he starts talking about the cat and mouse game that he's playing with whatever's in the woods, he gets really emotional. He starts fucking like... and he starts to really beat himself up over not taking a picture. He says, I've been Sasquatching for however many years, and our first instinct is to always take a fucking picture. He said, I just didn't feel that instinct that night to take the picture. And I'm going to take you to this part of the interview where he talks about that.
Okay.
Why didn't I take my phone out, take a picture of it? It didn't even occur to me.
He's way too...
It didn't occur to me to take my phone out and take a picture of it. I mean, I'm in the swamp with Chris, and we record everything.
He's way too sad.
If we hear something, we turn the camera over there. If we see something, we hit. And then behind me.
Okay.
Yeah, he's way too sad about not taking... I mean, I would just have been like, I'm fucking stupid in the heat of the moment. I just didn't think to take out my...
He was scared.
Yeah. I don't think I'd be crying about it. he wanted to.
It's hard to say.
Yeah.
And so he starts to go through this cat and mouse thing. Whatever. The back and forth with gets up, going over there, gets up, going over there, coming back. And then he's standing in front of his chair, and he starts to go into that in the next part of the interview, and I kind of cut it off, but... when he's standing in front of his chair, he's kind of making the decision, like, all right, I'm going to sit down. I'm going to stop worrying about these fucking eyes watching me from the woods.
Right.
Something huge, fucking big, grabs him from behind, slaps its hands or paws or whatever on his shoulders, and sits him down in the seat really hard.
Damn it, Chris. Up now.
I was so mad.
I'm looking at a Bigfoot.
And you know who he kind of reminds me of is whenever Mick Foley first broke into WWF.
Yeah.
He was mankind, and everyone thought that he was having a really hard time all the time. And that's what he sounds like to me.
I can hear it.
And he really starts to break down a few times. He's like, I don't know why people think I'm so strange. He really starts to break down a few times in this interview. But in this instance, he says that two large sets of hands or paws, fucking mittens, whatever, grabs him on the shoulders and crams him down into a seat, like shoves him straight down. I used to do that to my little brother all the time. About fucking severed his spine once.
Power move.
Yeah. And it pushes him down. And at this point, he says the panic sets in.
Mm-hmm.
And this is he says, I've really, and it's kind of funny the way he says it, but the panic sets in. He says, this is when I realize I'm in the shit. Like something is here with me.
Okay.
He didn't even turn around to see what it was, but just says that something grabs him on the shoulder, crams him down in his seat, and he's just overcome with this feeling like I am about to have my fucking life taken. I'm about to be murdered. So here it is.
A man does not like to be held down in a chair.
Amen, brother.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Why do I fucking hate this guy so much? But he's crying right here.
At least trying to make it seem like he is.
Look at this Carrie guy trying to look like he gives a fuck. And I can't believe this guy went along for this the entire time.
She's just reading the local news.
You can see that, and it looks like she's boozing she just slowly lifts a glass to her mouth. And I like how she's got that end-address microphone turned completely fucking sideways.
Yeah, it's a directional microphone. She's not even talking to
I remember the first time I made a podcast. Stupid bitch.
A man does not like to be held down in a chair. And I went into like panic mode. And my fear and my dread.
You hit that McFoley comparison on the nose.
And I knew I was in serious shit.
Okay.
You know, I got into this for kind of fun, you know. My wife had died, and Chris came to me and told me his story when he was a kid and said, Mark, let's go up to Georgia. And I thought, what the hell? I have nothing else to do, you know.
Yeah, he kind of goes into story about how he met Chris and how they decided they want to start going Sasquatching. And like I said before, it was more of a social experience for him because Chris would always bring along his wife, and Chris would always bring along his wife's, either his sister or his wife's sister. I can't remember, but there was always a second woman along for the Sasquatching.
Yeah.
And imagine meeting a chick that just wants to go hunt Sasquatches all the time.
That's love, man.
Yeah.
Imagine how bad their sex smelled.
Oh, man. It smells like old mayonnaise and fucking slimy toad feet in here. Oh, my God. Smells like a elevator full of Jamaicans slap boxing with dirty diapers. What the fuck happened here? Dude, that would be so disgusting.
Oh, jeez.
I can smell it from right here. And he says, that's when I knew that I was in serious shit.
You don't say, buddy.
He goes on to talk about how he got into Bigfoot hunting for fun, we kind of heard that right there.
Mm-hmm.
But this was so much more than that. This wasn't fun to him. He says, this wasn't fun. He says at this point that whatever was attacking him raped him inside of his head. And this is his very own words. And he doesn't say that he was physically raped. He just says that whatever it was physically raped him inside of his head. I'm sorry, mentally raped him inside of his head. He said it was like a bully just rumbling he compared it to a mosh pit. He said,
sweet.
You ever get in a mosh pit and people start throwing elbows? I said, my friend Rob Dog has definitely done that.
That's called crowd killing, my friend.
And he says, that's what they did. They just came into my mind. They forced their way into my head. And he says at this point that it was raping him inside of his head. He wasn't really clear if he got physically fucked or just whatever was inside of him kind of like, forcibly.
It just alphaed him.
Forcible entry there.
Yeah. Okay.
He said there was very distinct voices that started to speak inside of his head. The one that was behind him that was pressing him down, and then there was a sweeping voice to his right. And there was two alternating voices that would sweep from the middle of his head to the right side.
Oh, man.
And that there was nothing from the left side, but there were three voices all together that they would speak in unison, but he could definitely tell that there were three separate entities. And for this interview, he wrote down what he remembers that these things told him. So they're speaking to Mark Barton inside of his brain. They've forcibly raped their way into his head.
They mind fucked him.
And he calls it mind speak is what they did to him.
Okay.
And he emphasizes several times in the interview, he says, I want people to understand mind speak is a very pretty word, but what they did to me was not pretty at all. It was not nice. It was not enjoyable. So don't think that for one second, mind speak is a very nice word, because he says very rapey and it's a very horrible thing.
Yeah.
And he wrote down what the voices said to him. He said, one of the first things they said, we are the predator and you are the prey. We hunt you and we hunt you for sport, much like humans hunt deer, antelope, or in Joe Rogan's case, elk. That's all he's really into is elk.
It's about time they fucking start fighting back.
Yeah, he said that we hunt for sport. He said that at this point, he fully believed he was a dead man walking, that he was going to be murdered by whatever these things were. And I don't even remember why I cited this next fucking part, but at 23:28, let me get there real quick.
There you go.
At that moment, I realized I wasn't leaving alive. I knew it.
Oh, wow.
They took me down the bottom of the rabbit hole, and everything I took with me was of no avail. So if you think a gun's going to help you, if you're thinking a gun is going to help you when you get to the bottom, when they take you to the bottom of the rabbit hole, you're a goddamn fool. You won't even know how to use it. And what do we take as men? Our strength, our will, our resolve. They held me in a chair, and I'm a 200-pound man. I'm 6'4".
I'd whip your ass, buddy.
My mind went to mush, and I'll say this, and I don't care. My faith failed me. Why didn't I pray? Why didn't I cry out to God?
Because it doesn't work.
What the hell? A Christian man.
Do we have a crickets sound on here?
I'd knock his crooked ass teeth out.
Chirp, 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 chirp.
So his faith failed him.
Man, he really does. This really does sound like he's cutting a promo.
He sounds like he's losing his money, like he lost his goddamn mind.
I do want to say in all of this, I haven't seen a single tear.
No,
not one single tear.
He's pretty tore up, though, he seems like.
Yeah.
He said the voices told him that there are prey and that there are pawns. And
Okay.
there's people that mean nothing. They use...
That's us.
Yeah, that's precisely us. They use the pawns as nuggets of information. Now, if you like to partake in the marijuanas, now is a good time to light up a big old fucking bowl, fire it up, get it real nice and hot, take a big swift drag of it, let your mind unpack for a moment.
Robert better not get in my face, because I'll drop that motherfucker.
Just get it going, get it feeling real good.
It was Johnny Hopkins and Sloan Kettering. They were blazing that shit up.
Exactly. We're talking about Bigfoots here.
Yeah.
Physical, live, really big, gnarly Bigfoots.
Sure.
What is attacking him is not a Bigfoot. It is an entity or black, darkness of some kind. I don't know exactly what it is, but it's not a Bigfoot. He says that this entity kind of almost in a villainous manner starts to tell him what it's doing as it's killing him. Okay. It says that the pawns are the nuggets of interest. So this is all a game to this dark entity. Bigfoots are not really what they seem. The Bigfoots are put out into the wilderness as means of reeling in these guys that are completely obsessed with Bigfoots.
They're bait.
They're bait. Exactly. The footprints, the eyes, when they think they see a Bigfoot walking through the woods. These are all pawns. These are all nuggets of information
To get the prey to chase.
Used to reel these guys in. And this entity also explains that there is a veil in reality, that this dark entity lives on the other side of the veil, which it calls the underworld. It lives underneath the world.
Okay.
And it can cross, this dark entity can cross back and forth between the veil. And one of its tactics it uses is traces the evidence of Bigfoot to get these guys into the woods, out away from reality, out away from everybody, because this dark entity, as he calls it, the dark whispering voices or whatever. He has so many different names for what this thing is. The Masters is what he calls it. The Masters.
That's cool.
Yeah. The Masters use these Bigfoots, the footprints, to get these guys into the woods so they can prey upon them. Okay. And they're hunting these guys that are hunting the Bigfoot. They're hunting these guys for sport. That's the game of these Masters that live on the other side of this veil in this underworld, in this dark world. Staying with me?
I'm with you, man. This is awesome.
They were so convinced about the Bigfoot, the footprints, that they held an entire fucking goddamn town hall around this thing.
Okay.
And he also says this master says the women were pawns. Okay, the women. So he's really big in this. Mark Barton guy is really big into squatching. He's really into it with his buddy Chris Connor, and there's the two women that always go along. The dark entity, the master said, the women are pawns as well. Because there was two specific videos on the trail of the Bigfoot where the women have things happen to them. They get one has a staff, and the staff about gets ripped out of her hand, and the one gets pushed from behind. Whatever. It said that this master, this dark entity, said that it can flex the veil without coming into our side of the veil. Okay. So it can flex the veil, and it can push you across the woods without breaking the veil. And that's what they were using the women as pawns, because they would lightly, I shouldn't say lightly, they would manipulate the women through the veil, push them without breaking the veil. And that was kind of one of the things that they could do, how they could manipulate reality. They can...
This really would be a lot better with weed.
I know. Much like if you put up a bed sheet and you just kind of push your face up against the bed sheet. That's kind of like exactly what it is. Yeah. And that's one of the tactics that this dark entity, this master would use. These two women, I think their names were Betty and Dieta, or Dieta. Or I don't
Betty, of course.
And there were the things that were happening to the women, and it really, this Mark Barton guy, anytime that something happened to the women, he's like, oh my God, I gotta save these fucking women. I gotta keep these goddamn women from getting fucked up, fucking fucked by Bigfoot. It's a big goddamn Bigfoot. And it begs the question. We gotta divert here.
Mm-hmm.
You think a Bigfoot has like a big old horse dick, or you think it's just got a little baby red rocket dick?
I would think it'd be kind of proportional, so I would think it'd have a bigger dick than a smaller one.
And I'm here to tell you about America's #1 meal kit. HelloFresh lets you skip the grocery store and makes home cooking super easy. Over 4 out of 5 HelloFresh customers say HelloFresh helps them lead a healthier lifestyle with delicious, low-calorie, carb-smart, and vegetarian options available each and every single week. One of my favorite things about HelloFresh is they offer you complete flexibility. You can customize your meal plans and your order deliveries every single week, and you can easily change your delivery days or food preferences, and you can skip a week anytime you need to. And HelloFresh supplied us with some meals to try, and my God, the sage butter pork chops are the things that you only dream about, a taste that you will never forget. And if you would like to try HelloFresh yourself, we've got a very special offer for the listeners of the Brohio podcast. Go to HelloFresh.com/Brohio12 and use the promo code Brohio12 for 12 free meals. That's HelloFresh.com/Brohio12 and use the promo code Brohio12. Join the bros of Brohio and try America's #1 meal kit today. Last time I was looking for a good, funny business podcast, I kept on coming into dry, boring hosts. If you're like me, you appreciate your news with a side of funny. And when I was looking for a business podcast that was actually funny, that made me laugh, which is hard to do, I couldn't find a solution. And it's like the heavens opened up and they gave me David and Brad, the hosts of IP Frequently. Yes, the letter I, the letter P, Frequently. And I found exactly what Nicolicious was looking for. Solid business advice, 80s music, and headline news. So you got the two hosts of the show, David and Brad, that blend business advice, 80s music, and headline news all into a podcast called IP Frequently. IP Frequently isn't just a sign of chronic condition. It's a real podcast hosted by David and Brad that blends business advice, 80s music, and awesome headline news. And right now I have a call to action for the listeners of the Brohio podcast. Go check out IP Frequently. You can subscribe to them on any podcast catcher. They're at IP Frequently, and you can stay up to date on their weekly stream of episodes wherever you get your podcasts. So give them a listen today. Search for IP Frequently and follow David and Brad's weekly stream of episodes wherever you get your podcasts. And I'm back again to tell you guys about the tremendous success listeners of the Brohio podcast are having with BetterHelp. People from all over the world are getting help with assessing their needs, and they're getting matched with their own licensed professional therapists. And this is all without leaving the comfort of your own living room, no matter what you're struggling with. Anxiety, relationship problems, grief, self-esteem, anger. BetterHelp has you covered, and they are here to help you today with your mental health. Everything that you share is completely confidential. It's professional, affordable. In fact, so many people have been using BetterHelp that they are recruiting additional counselors in all 50 states. And right now, we have a very special offer for the listeners of the Brohio podcast. Just go to betterhelp.com/Brohio. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/Brohio. Join over 1 million people taking charge of their mental health today. Again, that's BetterHelp, HELP.com/Brohio. Did you have to do many strip searches when you worked at the jail?
No, none at all.
None?
No.
Oh my God.
The only time I ever got this, the only time
I got to see a waiter.
the only time I never got to see a strip search, but there was one time that maybe I've told this story before, and this is going to be a little tangent, but there was this UD kid came in, drunkard and shit, talking with an Irish accent. He fought us the entire night. He threw up all over himself, and he smelled like shit. He smelled awful. So the sergeant made him go into the shower to take a shower and get him into some blues. And while he was in there, of course, that's the only time I'd ever seen while I worked there, someone else naked. So they use that as to visually search him. So they weren't allowed to get in his ass crack or anything. But this dude the entire time was cussing us up, Irish style, just laying into us and blah blah blah. And then he came out after us. He got hit with the probes, the tasers. He got shot while he was wet, dropped on the floor. His Irish accent was gone like that.
Saved him.
But yeah, that's the only time I ever had to see someone else. Well, yeah.
At the prison, dude, it was every day.
I think it's different. I think
naked dudes all day.
Yeah, I think normal strip searches are a lot. We couldn't do anything besides out of clothes search.
I think I might have told this story on a Patreon episode. I can't remember, but I used to work in the visit room occasionally.
Mm-hmm.
And in the visit room, there was the visit room officer. He would watch the visits go down, make sure they weren't passing contraband.
How many times did people try to fuck in there?
Oh, there would be like not full on fucking
like handies and
handies for sure all the time.
Oh, yeah, you gotta let them get theirs though, man.
And then there was the shakedown room officer. I would oftentimes get tasked with the shakedown room, which is
after visits,
before and after.
Oh, okay,
make sure they weren't bringing a shank from the block, and that's perfect. That's kind of the segue to the story. So the inmates would come from the cell block, and they would have to go in the shakedown room, and it would be my job to get them completely butt naked, head to toe,
bend over,
cocks and socks, spread your butt cheeks, lift your balls, let's see what's in your foreskin. And I would have to do that to them before the visit, and then I would have to make sure they weren't smuggling contraband back to the block, and then I would strip search them after the visit as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember there was like this mixed kid that came in. He was probably like 20 or 21. This mixed kid, he came in, and about 5'10", maybe 140 pounds, just tall skin and bones, dude. And I'm like, all right, you know what to do. and there was like a partition between us, and they would get naked, and then I would step around the partition and be like, all right, lift your feet, spread your butt cheeks, lift your sack, whatever.
You've seen so many assholes.
Oh, dude, I saw so many assholes, and some really good looking ones, but then I saw some really ugly ones too. And this guy, I go around the partition, and he's naked, but he's got his hands over his dick and balls, which normally they wouldn't do because they just wanted to get it over with.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, turn around, squat and cough. But before they turn around, they're supposed to lift their sack so you can see underneath their scrotum.
Yeah.
So it was kind of out of order, but then he spun back around. I'm like, all right, lift your sack and then put your hands out to your side, because they got to put their hands out to their side so you can see make sure they're not covering anything with their, got to raise your knife in their fucking pubes or anything like that. And he just like shook his head no. I said, dude, you've done this before. And I didn't remember. I'd never seen this dude naked before. I said, you've done this before. You got to like put your hands out to your side. Let your wiener go. And he wouldn't do it. And I said, all right, here's your last chance. Either you can do the strip search right, or you can go back to your cell block, and then you're not getting your visit. And he was like, man. And he let go of his wiener. And I swear to God, dude, this thing unraveled like a fucking fire hose.
Like bubble tape.
It unraveled with such ferocity that it nearly arched his back and almost.
Dog, why would you be covering that shit up?
Almost pulled him down. It was gray. It looked like a fucking sweet potato. It was about a centimeter wide where it attached to his body. It was about 3 feet wide, right in the middle of it. And then at the head of it, it was about 2 centimeters wide again. This thing looked like the nastiest fucking sweet potato you ever seen.
What the fuck is wrong with this?
But it was every bit of 10, 11 inches flaccid, hanging straight the fuck down.
He was a shower, not a grower.
There was so much loose skin on this wiener. I could tell that when it got hard, it was probably the size of a car. Like it was a fucking.
You could drive it.
Biggest, yeah. Everybody is high. It was the biggest fucking wiener. I'd never seen anything compared in a porno. I'd never seen. My uncle had a big dick. It was not this big. It was not this big at all, dude.
Maybe he knew it was ugly.
It was fucking terrible looking. It looked like a cinder block. It was I don't even know. I can't even explain it. It looked like it looked like a gray sweep. It looked like an armadillo. That's what it looked like.
Like an anteater's nose.
Yeah. And I said, God, fuck, put your clothes on. And he's like, man, he puts his clothes on. He goes out for his visit. And then the visit room officer, his name was Terry. Terry like played professional football for the Titans. He was a bad fucking dude, man. He's 6'2", solid. He looked just like solid rock. And Terry was always ready to fucking rumble. Just like I always want to fight, but he didn't get to fight very often because he's in the visit room. He was a visit room officer now.
Oh yeah, I remember this. You did tell the story.
He said, man, I don't even like these dudes very much. And I'm like, whatever. I had nothing in common with Terry, but I went out there and I said, hey, T, man, when this guy goes back to the cell block, I'm going to need you to take care of him for me. He said, what you mean, dog? I said, he really gave me a hard time in there and he wouldn't get naked. It almost seemed like he wanted to fight with me. He said, I'll fucking take care of him whenever we go back to the block. You don't worry about it, my friend. I got this shit. I'm like, all right. So the visits go through. And this dude's name's like Williams or something, or Jefferson. I can't remember the name. But he's T's like, you come with me. And he takes him in the shakedown room. Mm-hmm. And I'm just sitting out there waiting for T to come back out. I didn't even go in there with him. And then T comes back out of the strip search room, and his fucking eyes are the size of saucers, dude. Yeah. His eyes. Okay.
I'm just going to let keep going.
His eyes were the size of saucers. Looked like he'd seen a goddamn ghost, like the scariest ghost ever. And I said, what's wrong, man? He said, God damn. And I'm just staring at him. He said, that's the biggest goddamn dick I've ever seen in my life. And I was laughing so fucking hard. He said, I don't even know how that boy get his motherfucking pants on.
You fucking did him no favors at all.
He said, that's the biggest goddamn dick I ever seen. Terry T, he'd been in the system for a while. He's seen a lot of wieners for sure.
That's impressive, man. Good.
That's the biggest goddamn dick. And I'm thinking to myself, T probably got himself a big old fucking schlong on him himself. The old gut rocker.
I'm sure it's probably proportional just by size, though.
Probably. That's the biggest goddamn dick.
Look like a fucking garden hose.
That's the biggest sweet potato looking dick.
Nice and sweet in the middle.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So moving on here.
I don't know where we were going, but it's okay.
Much like we hunt deer as trophies, we are trophies to the masters and the dark entity.
Sure.
They told him that they would kill him first, and then they would move on to killing Chris, which is his lesbian lover that he cared so much, so deeply about that he really would get upset about, everything. He didn't want anything to happen to Chris. And at this part in the interview, he starts to explain that everything that they do to us is for grooming. They're grooming them for the kill. So when they show you a Bigfoot, the masters show you a Bigfoot, they're grooming you for the kill.
Okay.
And he says that even though through his Bigfoot travels, he thought that he was seeing so many Bigfoots and having so many experiences with Bigfoots, he thought the Bigfoots liked him. It's much like a fucking golden, like a Labrador retriever likes you.
Yeah.
You get home from work and the dog wants to hang out and play with you. He thought that these Bigfoots, he was having so many close encounters and casual encounters like Craigslist with these Bigfoots that he thought the Bigfoots really started to like him.
And he's the Bigfoot whisperer.
And he says, but then he goes on to tell the interviewer, he's like, I was fucking dead fucking wrong.
They were just using him.
They were trying to fuck me.
Eat
they
me.
wanted to kill my fucking best friend, Chris, and I was just trying to have sex with him. So here.
Everything that happened in that fucking swamp was to groom us for the kill. Go watch our channel. Carrie, a lot of shit went on.
Yeah.
And you know what? Chris and I had only been out in the swamp for a year or two, and people that had been out for 20 years didn't have the shit that we got.
I think it's where you were, too.
And we thought we were special. We thought they liked us. We thought they were developing a relationship with us. They were grooming us for the kill. So all the chatter and the talk and the thuds and the knocks, all the time we saw, and we'll talk about this in a minute, the cloaked figures and the pixelation and the physical evidence, the tree structures, the footprints. We saw footprints, but it's hard to cast in Florida.
Right.
Grooming us.
And he talks about the cloaked figures.
Mm-hmm.
Because through these infinite Bigfoot travels, he and his gay lover, Chris, they start to have a lot of, they both start to experience these dark cloak figures running around that the masters said were them. That was them. So you got the Bigfoots that are used as a decoy, but then the masters themselves kind of fucking dart around in these black cloaks and you can't really get eyes on them. It's a very elaborate scheme to kill a human. And it ties into something we've talked about before here in just a minute.
And humans are pretty stupid. You don't have to be all secretive to kill them.
No, you don't at all.
Just lead me over towards you with the fucking Kit Kat bar, and I'm
break me off a piece of that. And he says each predator is assigned to kill a human. There's each prey, which he was a prey. There's a predator that's specifically assigned to him.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the helpers, which were swiping. I said before there was two other voices that were kind of swiping back and forth. And
yeah.
Those are the helpers. And then there was observers that were watching him. So the predator was the thing that snuck up behind him and slammed his shoulders down.
Okay,
that's the predator.
Okay. And
there were other entities and dark beings that were there watching all this unfold, much like we would watch someone go hunting, or much like we would watch a YouTube video of someone hunting or whatever.
Sure.
But he also says, Mark Barton, that it's all smoke and mirrors. He explains it as much like a magician. So the magician really wants you to focus on the right hand.
Mm-hmm.
whatever is in the right hand. But actually, really, all the misdirection is going on in the left hand.
Exactly.
So the right hand are the Bigfoots, the cast moldings, the whatevers, the things that we're looking for, the shit that's fucked the tree up, the actual, the footprints, all that shit. That's the right hand.
Mm-hmm.
But in the left hand is all the things, the cloaked figures, the dark beings that are kind of zipping around in the background doing all the bad shit. While
your attention's diverted.
Yeah, that's how he explains it.
Okay.
And he said that there's a lot more evil creatures, and these are the dark entities speaking to him. He didn't just make this shit up. This is everything that they told him. He said that there's more evil creatures that you don't see, the cloaked figures behind the trees that move too quickly that you can't even see.
Surprise, motherfucker.
He asked why. In the interview, he says why they let him get as far. He asks the entities. He asks them, why did you let me get as far as I did with the Bigfoot investigations, with the finding the footprints, with seeing the shit in the woods, seeing the eyes, all these things. He asked this master, why did you let me get this far? Why did you let me experience all these things? And the master explained, by you gaining all of this knowledge, it makes you a more prizeful kill for them. So the more knowledge that the human possesses, it's like getting a 50-point buck or whatever. It's
50 points.
I don't know if that's a big one or a little one.
That's unimaginable.
Yeah, maybe where you're from, but I kill those all the time. If you want to PayPal me, I'll tell you how I get a 50-point buck and shit. So, and he said that there were instances where he would kind of move away from the swamp. He'd be like, I'm not going squatching for a while. This is before this run-in with the dark entity. And he said it was much like when he was a kid, he lived on a farm and the cats would catch a mouse.
Yeah.
And then the mouse would kind of like fucking not move for a minute, and the cat would slap it to get it to start moving again. He said when he would stay away from the woods, things would start to happen in his everyday life. He would see these cloaked figures running around whenever he would be walking down the street in Florida, going to the supermarket, all this shit. He would see these dark cloaked figures running around, and then he would get this overwhelming feeling that he had to return back to the swamp for these investigations.
Weird.
And after he would see these things and he would get these overwhelming feelings of, hey, I got to get back in the swamp, he would call Chris, his lesbian lover, his friend, and he would say, we got to get back in the woods, man. We got to get back and find these things. We got to go squatching.
Maybe this guy's just never seen goth kids before. Every time he saw one, he's like, God damn it.
Imagine if he saw that wiener that I saw in prison that one day. Like, I was there and he pulled his penis out. It was the biggest goddamn wiener I ever seen in my entire life. It slammed me down in my chair. Put that wiener on my head.
It compelled me to go back out to the forest.
And whenever he would see these dark cloaked figures, it would make him want to go back into the swamp and look for Bigfoots.
Okay.
And that's ultimately what the master wanted, was for him to be in the woods alone so they could strike and make their kill. And they told him, they said, you never know when we're going to kill. We do our thing, 20, 30 years, however long it takes. And time is different for these dark entities. Much, how 20 years progresses for us, it doesn't progress the same for these beings on the other side of the veil.
Mm-hmm.
Time is not relevant to them. It doesn't work the same way time works for us.
Right, when you're dead, you're dead.
God, I fucking don't
Or
even
unliving, whatever the fuck they are.
Yeah. And these cloaked figures would kind of reignite his interest to go in the woods. And after he would have the experiences with the black cloaked figures and regular in public, they would always have tremendous activity whenever they would go back into the woods after that. They would hear loud grunting, knocking, all kinds of really strong, these holy pillars of Bigfoot evidence. And they also told him that whenever he went back into the woods and he heard the grunts, the knocking, and all this shit, that this was the masters communicating back and forth, trying to decide which one of them wanted to take the lead on killing Mark and Chris. That this was them chattering back and forth in the woods around them trying to decide who was going to be the one to kill these fucking Neanderthals.
Well,
yeah. And and it was at this point, there was a really overwhelming experience. I guess he has a video on this. He keeps on referencing, go check out my channel. And
he's just trying to get views.
That's really all he was doing, I think, is what I think that's exactly what he was doing.
Yeah.
They said there was one specific incident where there was a lot of chatter and activity, and that was the predator told him that's when we decided that who was going to do what to you, and that you were the prey. It's kind of a little bit scary. They told him that they were toxic and that where they came from was toxic, that if humans went to the other side of this veil, that it would kill them, that there's no doubt that whatever it was, wherever it was, it would kill them. And I talked about it before, the veil between us and them is completely flexible, where they can reach through and bend the veil and kind of change things on our side of the veil.
Right.
He said that it was like, and all of this is going on while he is slammed down in the chair, being held down in the chair and can't really react. He says there's like a huge fire that popped, like a 12-gauge shotgun just blew off inside of his head. And at that exact second, when this explosion happened in his head, he was able to break the grasp of whatever it was, and he jumped up. And then when he jumped up in that exact instance, he heard another voice. There was nobody else around. He heard a voice of something else that wasn't the entities that were inside of his head that said, run. He immediately ran inside the cabin, and he could still feel whatever was chasing him and whatever would slam him was right outside the door of the cabin. He could feel it right outside the door, and he had his back up against the door. And he really breaks down at this point as well in the story. And he is completely convinced that it was God that intervened at this point, that helped break the grasp of these things that were holding him down in the seat. And whenever he was up against the door, he said clear as day, he could hear them say verbatim, let us through the threshold. Let us through the threshold. And it just over and over and over again, this predator is saying, let me through the threshold. And he said that he believes that God created a spiritual threshold for him, and then it was up to him to define where that threshold was. It was the door of that cabin was the defined threshold in his mind. And even to this day, he can spiritually say, do not cross this threshold. And these fucking things.
It's like vampires. Vampires need permission to enter.
That's kind of how he explains it. And he says that if he would not have been able to use that threshold, that he would have been a story, a missing 411 story. And it makes you think for a second that what if all of these people from these missing 411 stories are really having experiences with these dark masters, these predators, these dark entities, if there's something in the woods that is undoubtedly preying upon them, because there's no doubt about the missing 411. There's no questions there.
Right.
That shit happens. Okay?
Definitely.
There's no doubt that people are going missing in our national forests. And he, this Mark Barton guy, seems to think that whatever attacked him that night is the same thing that makes people disappear in these national parks. He's completely convinced of that. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, there's not a lot of explanations of why people just disappear in the national parks.
Yeah.
Aside from they just get lost and die and then shit eats them. So there's really no way to say exactly what it is happening to these people. He said at this point, and this is where the story gets really hokey for me. He says, you know what I did? I just started getting fucking drunk. He said he doesn't drink, but he had a big old bottle of whiskey in the cabin.
I'm sorry, my dude's a drinker. Look at him.
What the fuck? So you know what I did? What? I had whiskey, and I drank. I drank.
Spoken like a true
I
alcoholic.
drank to get those things out of my head.
No
I
tears.
got fucking drunk. I passed out all
Amen, brother.
I got fucking drunk. I think he's drunk in this fucking video right
I
here.
see fucking Bigfoot all the time. That's why I
the
drink.
couch. I got up the next morning,
Hold on.
and they were there.
Oh.
Next morning, I passed out on the couch. I got up the next morning, and they were there.
Yeah, he says he got so fucking drunk that he passed out on the couch, and then the entities were still there the next morning.
Man, he was...
And he said he doesn't drink. Well, if he doesn't drink, then why has he got a bottle of fucking whiskey in the cabin with him?
Exactly. That's exactly what I was thinking.
And he kind of explains. He says, "Well, I had the whiskey because I'm a man, and that's what men do. They go in the woods and drink whiskey and smoke cigars."
You know what? Until I recently started, well, past like 2 years, started drinking or collecting and like enjoying whiskey, never bought whiskey when I didn't drink it.
Yeah, exactly. So this is where I said, I said that this is where it got a little bit hokey for me if it wasn't already that way before.
Right.
So that next day, Chris didn't come to get Mark Barton. Chris's brother came to get him. And he said that whenever he got there to pick him up, that he was completely fucking hungover. He just didn't give a fuck about anything.
Attaboy.
And Chris's brother got a little bit aggravated because Mark wouldn't leave his side. When Chris's brother was walking out to the truck and walking out to the, outside to put things in the truck, that Mark wouldn't leave his side. He was like a cat on his foot. And his brother's like, "Man, what the fuck is wrong with you?" He said, I feel like I'm going to pass out, and I don't want to be away from you in case I fall down and I'm sick. Something's wrong with me. I don't want to fall and hit my head. But before they left, and this is really aggravating. He says before they left, they stopped to get this trail cam that they put on the exit road.
Okay.
And then these motherfuckers say, "Oh, but before you do that, let's take a quick break." And this YouTube channel takes a 5-minute break. And they don't ever get back into what was on the goddamn trail camera.
Oh my gosh.
I said, what a terrible fucking interview, dude.
Yeah, how can you not remember what you were just talking about?
Not that it's ever happened here. Yeah. He said he got home. When Mark Barton got home, he went to Chris's house. And the entire time leading up to Chris's house, he had no recollection of much of what happened. He said his brain was like marbles. He couldn't remember anything about the regular everyday world. He said he could barely remember his way he couldn't really remember the way to get to Chris's house. When he got to the house, he couldn't remember Chris's wife's name. He couldn't remember the name of the fucking dog that he'd been around so many times. But as he kind of started, encountered these things, he encountered the dog, encountered the wife, all the names started to come back to him. He told Chris that he was never going back in the swamp ever again. "What are you doing in my swamp?" And he said that he didn't leave his house at night for 2 months.
Damn.
And at the 1 hour and 8-minute mark, I have it marked here, he starts to talk about Chris again. And it really confirms my suspicions that he is indeed gay, that they were lovers. I'll play that right now.
I sat down with him in Beata at the dining room table.
Deata, that's his
I
wife's name.
basically just fucking fell apart. You think I'm falling apart now? This is tame.
I'd say so. Yeah.
All right.
Poor guy.
I can imagine he was pretty upset too.
It's hard for him. So I told him, I said, I can't go in the swamp anymore. I said, if I go in the swamp, I'm a dead man. They'll kill me. I know it. I can't open that. That's part of the veil for me. Not the veil. That's part of the threshold for me. You can go back to that swamp. And frankly, Carrie, I don't know if I can go camping anymore. I don't know if I can go anywhere in the wilderness. I didn't leave my house for 2 months at night. 2 months. I'm a grown man. I was afraid to leave my house at night.
You're talking to the guy that knows.
Oh, yeah.
So I told him, I said, buy a boat. I'll go fishing with you, Chris. Because, you know,
Chris must be made of fucking
I
money.
love
Yeah.
going in the swamp with Chris.
Okay.
I couldn't remember why I listened to this part. I'm like, man, they're definitely fucking each other. But that really confirms it right there.
I mean, hey, if they are, good for them. But I mean,
yeah, it's hot, dude. Hot mud. We're mud. Listen to this again.
And I love going in the swamp with Chris.
dude, this is fucking McFoley.
I love going in the swamp with Chris.
Gosh,
I want to eat him out. I don't want to eat Chris out.
I love going to his swamp.
After Mark and Chris talked in this instance, Chris started seeing the dark, whispery master creatures around his house. And even at one point, he was grabbed by one of these dark creatures. And they were both very concerned that these dark entities were coming into their houses to attack them. There was I believe it was the other Betty, the third wheel woman that goes squatching with him. Her son was attacked by some type of dark cloaked figure.
Okay.
And he couldn't really explain, a whole lot about it, just that he was attacked by a dark cloaked figure.
Betty, man. That's a good old fashioned name.
Yes.
There ain't any more modern day Bettys anymore.
It's like a 19-year-old lady at my work named Carol.
Is it really? Holy shit.
He started, at this point, he started to break out into rashes. Mark Barton did. His whole body ached, and he felt like he had been smoking menthol cigarettes for
what?
That's what he said. He said he was really physically fit. He said, before this, I was stomping into the woods and going on these excursions, Bigfoot hunts, and I was in really good shape. But he said immediately after this that his whole body would just break out into rashes. His whole body ached, and he could never catch his breath. He said it always felt like he'd smoked 100 menthol cigarettes. He actually went to the hospital right after the attacks in the woods that he spoke of. In the hospital, they said there's nothing wrong with you, and they sent him home.
Damn.
They did. He went back to the hospital again. They did a heart catheter, and when he woke up from the heart cath, the doctor said, "Well, hey, while we were doing this cath, I found a complete blockage in one of your aortas."
Oh no.
And he said that this wasn't like this before the trip, that this all came on after his attack in the cabin, that it was all related, that all these health problems didn't come along until after he was attacked in the cabin. He said that, kind of how this dark master talked about how it leaves all these little nuggets, leaves all these little, I guess, goodies for them, just want to make them keep on chasing Sasquatches. In one video, they're out, they're out squatching.
Yeah.
They're looking for Bigfoots, and they get a really fucking strong smell of piss. Urine.
It's a telltale sign.
Well, he said that in this instance where they were smelling this strong smell of piss, fucking god damn it, that he felt like there was something right behind him. And it was one of the strangest presences, one of the strangest presence he's ever felt. Sorry, wasn't a word. And when he was trapped in the cabin and being attacked, they explained to him that when he smells piss,
I'm excited
to change his fucking underwear. But not only that, they said, when you smell piss, that's what it smells like when they break through the fabric of the veil.
Does it make him piss?
I don't know if anybody fucking physically pisses himself or what. But
that's embarrassing. I wouldn't go through the veil then.
Oh, well, boss.
What happened again?
I was gonna go kill this guy, but you're not gonna believe this. I took off flying towards the veil to bust through. I tripped a little bit, and I pissed all over myself. I pissed in my ghost pants. I pissed in my ghost Wranglers.
Yeah, they said that whenever they smell piss, that's them breaking the fabric of the veil to
That's
cross
weird.
the cross dimensions. And they also told him, consider us to be from under earth, almost like hell. And Mark Barton, he refuses to watch the missing 411 interviews because he knows how all of those people are going missing. He chalks it all up to these dark entities, these Bigfoot traps. But he also says they're not demonic, because he said, much like you and I hunting us hunting a deer or fishing, we're not demonic.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't make us demonic.
Not that we hunt, but
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But we don't.
no.
And
I'm too stupid.
he said this doesn't make them demonic either. And then he also goes on to explain that Bigfoot, and I never thought this, so I don't know why he felt a need to explain this. But Bigfoot is not your fucking friend.
You don't say?
And here he is explaining that.
You can say Bigfoot's your friend.
Nobody
You
said
talk
that.
to him. He cuddles up to you.
Nobody said that ever.
He kisses you. I don't care.
He sucks your dick.
There you are. You're getting your fruit bowl licked from behind by a Bigfoot. You're getting your love nuggets tugged on.
Rob Dog, you ever had your fruit bowl tongue from behind?
No, I have not.
If you've ever had your fruit bowl tongue from behind, send us an email, brohiopodcast@gmail.com. We'd love to know about
Your fruit bowl.
Your fruit bowl, getting a tongue from behind. If you ever had your love nuggets tugged on.
If you've ever made out with a Bigfoot, or if you think that a Bigfoot is your friend, please send us an email.
Not your friend. Here he is. You guys are making out next to the pond. Bigfoot reaches up your bra.
You can say Bigfoot's your friend.
Remember your first time you stuck your hand up a girl's bra?
Yes.
I do too.
God bless her.
My mom wouldn't. She was so fucking upset.
You talk to him.
Was
He
it her
cuddles
bra?
up to you.
No, it wasn't her bra.
Okay.
It was her tits, but I think it was her sister's bra.
He kisses you. I don't care. Not once did Chris and I ever feel like our life was in danger. We thought they were our buddies. And they were going to show us in the end. Well, they showed me in the end, didn't they? They're not your friend. And if you think they're your friend, they're grooming you for the kill. And they told me we are incredibly patient. I don't think time flows for them like us. They'll wait 20 years, 30 years. It's not like it is for us. They'll play with you. They will toy with you. They know they tailor the kill to you. What works with me won't work with you, Carrie, or work with Chris. They know us intimately. They knew where I fucking lived and came to see me.
You guys are fucking weirdo, isn't he?
Yeah, man. I'm not convinced that this isn't a fucking promo.
And I commented on the video just now. I said, what a fucking fraud, stinky old drunk dick. I'm a YouTube troll. I just wanted them to know that I knew. And he goes on to warn that if it is his belief, if you're ever out Sasquatching, that if you're hunting these things and you hear these grunts, this rustling around that he speaks of, whenever they determine that he was the prey, that you are in a very bad situation.
That's the first piece of advice that I will actually say that I agree with. If you're in the middle of the woods and you hear grunting, do not chase after it.
Yeah, he says that
That will fuck you up. Whatever it is, it's mean, it's hungry.
He says these cloaked figures, if you're seeing these cloaked figures flying around, that's also an omen of very bad luck.
Stop drinking whiskey in the middle of the woods.
Yeah, I just want to get fucking drunk.
He states that what's most frustrating for him is the only evidence that he has for this experience is the talk that he had with Chris afterwards, where they both start to see these cloaked figures running around, and as well as his bad health, which he says is also evidence of the experience that he had in the woods.
I thought you were going to say alcoholism.
No, yeah. To this day, he says all he wants to do is fucking drink, but he said and I don't have it linked here, but he says,
You know the reason I don't drink? Not because of God. Not because of some woman. It's because I promised Chris I wouldn't drink. Chris Jericho.
God, he loves Chris.
I know, it's so good.
That's love, man.
1 hour, 45 minutes, and 7 seconds. He claims that he can now control whatever these entities are with this threshold. That
Oh,
he
hell
speaks
yeah.
of. He said that he's created a threshold around his entire condominium.
So now the puppet is the puppet master.
I control the masters. And this is a 1 hour.
He's pulling the strings now on these marionettes.
Here we go.
Isn't this all that time I was helpless in that chair, but now I have been given a tool to kick their fucking asses.
Oh, wow. That's aggressive.
Easy, buddy. Jesus. I kicked their... Doesn't he just seem like someone you would fucking just... He probably smells like piss. That is
Probably just him.
He is probably laying in a beanbag completely full of piss.
It does look like he's in a beanbag.
He's in a fucking beanbag chair.
He probably has like a bunch of Grateful Dead posters in his room, and
He's probably got so much dirt between his fucking toes.
a lot of those posters that change color in black light that you get from like fucking Spencer's Gifts.
Oh my god. Seems like the kind of guy like I don't... If he got you a gift, it would be like a radio, transistor radio he found in the trash. I bought it new at Radio Shack.
He doesn't make any decision without shaking his magic 8-ball.
Payback time, bitches.
Absolutely.
What a stupid fuck.
Carrie. Absolutely. Yeah.
And even if you take my life now, the word is out. Fuck you.
He said, fuck you.
Fuck
It's
you.
out.
That's so aggressive.
Fuck you. Okay.
Well, I hope a lot of people watch this
We need a
and
soundbite of that.
at least understand that
Fuck you.
you are completely different.
I feel, and the bravest person through this entire thing is this Carrie fellow from Bigfoot Odyssey. How he literally gives this motherfucker the time of day for the entire episode. 20 minutes into this thing, I'd have been like, this motherfucker. But, you know,
I don't think Danielle is buying it.
she has not said a single word, dude. And that's the funniest part. There is a third person in this interview, and you never even hear. But he's alive still to this day. He talks about how there was another Bigfoot squatcher, Tim Ferrasso, I believe is the name. He was an avid Bigfoot hunter in Tampa Bay, and he hated this guy. But these masters, this predator, told him that they killed Tim Ferrasso, I think is his name. They said that they killed him as well. And there was a lot of suspicious circumstances around this Tim Ferrasso guy, his death. Some say that he died from a snake bite. Some people say he died from a heart attack. But the circumstances surrounding his death is kind of really weird and unsettling. And they didn't really know what happened to him. But he talks at length about Tim Ferrasso. He says, he died. They said they killed him. But I didn't get along with him. I didn't like him because he made fun of our channel. He made fun of our YouTube channel.
He definitely won't like us.
No, he wouldn't. And I'm completely waiting to get some hate mail from this Carrie guy, like, take down my fucking shit, motherfucker. Yeah. He seems like a really nice guy. I probably should have asked him if I could use it. But
yeah, fair use.
Fair use.
Yeah.
Commenting and spectating. And
yep. We're making an analysis of his content. It's okay.
It's true. I got a cat lawyer over here, Rob Diggity Dangle Dog.
I know a lot about fair use, so yeah, we're good.
We're good all the way. Well, that's the story of Mark Barton and the Bigfoot mental rape.
That's a pretty good one.
Yeah, it's pretty weird, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
That's
weird.
a weird dude. I know. They're like they're butt fucking each other out in the woods for sure. I don't even know.
Nah.
To edit this part out.
30 minutes of this.
Yeah.
Mark sees it.
Oh my god.
I don't see shit.
It's 1814.
Naturally, you see all these hand-sized sticks. They're hand-sized sticks. That does not occur naturally. Not like that all in one spot. They've been broken up. So that's what I'm saying.
It's really flat.
Yeah, and it looks like a little bit of a path where Mark's going. So
This is Chris.
we're seeing more and more evidence of where they're hanging out at.
I already like Chris. So.
The sticks don't have to occur like that, folks. There's a bunch in this one little spot.
You can't really tell. They're in the
That's
woods.
like
They're probably only like 5 yards off the road.
right. It's so easily explainable.
The sticks?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so
Fucking. I mean, there could have been other people down there. It's a path, obviously.
These dudes are just trying to psych themselves.
There's animals. I mean, fuck.
They just don't occur like that. And we're near where we found the last.
Sticks don't just lay on the ground.
And stuff at.
I don't know.
Well, you said you heard it. What was it? You heard talking? You heard talking? You heard talking?
They're near like a fucking new housing development.
That's the trail. I'm sorry, the trail to Bigfoot.
Mark sees it.
2151.
We're making all kinds of noise. Trying to get through. Yeah.
Over here. Some of those screens or something.
He's drunk right there. I don't know. I feel like we're torturing them.
There's something completely not threatening about walking through a field of fucking palm trees.
No, not at all.
I know those are really palm trees, but they look like them.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for listening to this episode of the Brohio Podcast. We'll be back with you next week, hopefully with
Video.
something really conspiracy.
Hell yeah, I'm down.
Yeah.
Those are the best.
But in the meantime, Rob has something to tell you.